What's up, traders? Eric here with MajorLeagueTrading.com, coming at you with a free nightly video. And it has been a little bit since I was able to do a nightly video. We ended up having a kid about 12 days early. It was a whole series of events that took place over like a 4-day thing. It was supposed to be a normal checkup, and turns out like 24 hours from that checkup, we were holding a new baby. So anyways, it was a kind of crazy last 10 days or so here, and I really didn't get a chance to do anything at all last week. I checked the markets a couple of times, but it was really just too much going on, and probably not only just on the baby front, but some other things. Probably one of the busiest distraction weeks that I've probably ever had in my life. So from that standpoint, it was good to kind of take a step back and really disconnect from the markets for a little bit here, kind of forced. And it works out well, right? It's right in front of earnings season here, so there's a couple things for us to take a look at, right? But I think it definitely puts some things on the table here for what this market can and can't do. Well, market can really do whatever it wants, right? But taking a look here, just at the morning write-up here from today, you can see we've got some big earnings names coming up here: Tesla, Google, CMG, IBM, a ton of big names set to come up for the week. And then we start getting down into the plan from today. And this is, if you guys are not familiar with this is my morning write-up, which I'll put a link in the description below if you guys want to check this out. It's $1 for 14 days. And this has my daily plan every single day, excluding last week, obviously, extenuating circumstances, did what I could there. And we go through and we talk about each trade idea and things like that, and essentially how the market should move on the day. And I want to point out a couple of things here from today's action, but this plan right here worked out perfect. So in the NASDAQ, we had that 902.50 level. We're currently trading above it. If we can test that level on a pullback this morning with some sort of divergence, then longs will be on the table. And a good target, I said goo. A good target would be the 20K whole number, and anything above that would be just gravy. So if we take a look at this, and this is the point in which I want to make here, right? We had this 19,902 level on the day. We pulled right back to it. We did manage to pop up over that $20,000 number by 15, 20 points there. So it was a good 100-point move that really didn't really hurt. It didn't really do anything. And I completely missed this move, right? I watched this pull back here this morning. I wasn't entirely too sure about the action, but then of course it went according to plan, and we managed to get that pop. And I think this was personally one of the best trades on the board for the day. Now, we ended up getting some divergences here a little bit later in the day as well. You can see we did get divergences down here in the S&Ps and the NASDAQ. When we came down towards the lows there at 1130s. This was a little interesting kind of, S&Ps make the low, and then right here at 1140, something, just a small, tiny little tail, like these little pieces of detail, these small little things, they can mean a lot, right? So when we do get that extra little push right there in the S&Ps, you can see we don't get that in the NASDAQ, obviously not in the Russell and or the Dow. And the Russell is actually managing to pretty much hold opening print right through this whole series of events, which was super important. That was a big standout here. Obviously, I had already left the desk for the day by the time this move popped off, but we did trade right up into 22.41.20s here for the Russell. And that brings me to the thing in which I want to note from today, just overall in the action here, and we'll zoom out on this, right? If we take a look at the S&Ps, you can see, ultimately, I think 55.37 quarters here. That's where I think that we'll probably end up trading down to on the week. And if we do manage to get that, I like longs from 55.37 quarters, obviously, as long as we hold. So I could see that being some, nice gap down from some sort of earnings name, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, well, Tuesday evening into Wednesday, or Wednesday evening into Thursday, right? And then from there, we pull the Uno reverse and we come ripping back up from it. Now, if we can do that, right, 55.37 quarters, that would push us down under last week's lows and tag the level down there. So we have 56.10 today and 55.64s. 56.10's held really, really well here. And I think that opens the door, like I said, for still that move down into 55.37 quarters here. But with that, That would also require NASDAQ to come down here, maybe make new lows. There is a lot more room in NASDAQ down to 368s, which would be a rather fun move. But if you'll notice in the Russell, we actually managed to poke through the lows from Friday here, right? We didn't quite poke all the way down to, last Monday's lows there, but we did manage to at least poke through Friday's lows there. And then that's what gave us this nice little rally back up here in a 22.4120. So that's kind of standing out to me. Like Russell was definitely a little bit weaker. So was the Dow early on, but Dow still even not able to poke under, kind of those Friday's lows, right? So it's interesting in the S&P, or sorry, in the Dow here, the lows were on Monday. In the Russell, the lows were on Monday from last week. But when you look at something like the S&Ps and the NASDAQ, right, Monday we were way up here, right, as opposed to down at lows. So S&Ps and NASDAQ relatively weaker compared to the Russell and the Dow, just given that little piece of information from, what would be the last week's information there, right? Monday we're all the way up here, as opposed to Monday, we were here in the Russell, rallied up and then sold back off, right? So there's a little kind of interesting little nugget there that I'm watching, and I want to see how that develops, and I want to see what ultimately we can take from that. And at the moment, that's the biggest thing in which I'm seeing here going into all of these earnings names. Like I said, that list is completely stacked full for the week. So I don't think we're going to have any shortage of opportunity to take advantage of here this week. I just don't think today and maybe even tomorrow are going to be some of the better trading environments with those pending earnings. Now, at the same time, you could make the argument, and I'll wrap it up with this. You could make the argument that, hey, here was Netflix's earnings. We basically were at 643s. We rallied, we sold off, we rallied it back. We stayed basically right here around 643s, give or take, over the last 2 days. So is this going to turn into an earnings season where we see absolutely diddly and nothing ends up, making the move? Netflix, Tesla, Google, everything basically stays, relatively close to its current prices. I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm not looking at Netflix to be the determining factor, the guide on that. I think the market's had such an incredible move that there should be and probably will be some outlier moves that we can take advantage of. Now, will that be Tesla? Will that be Google? I don't necessarily know. But I do want to watch the earnings names in order to see and find those standout names, because I think that's where the better opportunities probably are going to lie for this week in the markets. So anyways, that's what I got for you guys on tonight's free video. Take care. Hope it helps. As always, I will see you guys on the next video. And if you do want those morning write-ups, feel free to click that link in the description below. It's $1 for 14 days, and you guys can check those out during earnings season. So take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.